And thank you also for the singing team. I think that was a very impressive singing.
係，亦都感謝我哋今日嘅敬拜隊係非常係啦，即係呢個澎湃嘅呢個分享。
Glad to see 4 ladies singing here at the front.
係啦，咁我哋喺現場第一排咧，感受到係啊4位敬拜隊成員嘅係啦頭先個滿心嘅獻上嘅讚美。
Okay, today we have prepared a topic for you.
今日咧，我哋為大家咧係準備咗一個題目嘅。
We want to talk to you about suffering.
好似有啲重啊！今日我哋想講咧受苦呢個題目喎。
So it's a difficult topic.
係好困難啊，係。
Because many of us suffer in one way or the other.
因為咧，其實亦都好實際，有好多人咧今日當中咧可能呢樣嘢嗰樣嘢都係有一啲嘅係苦難當中。
And sometimes we maybe even doubt whether God cares.
有時我哋甚至會問呢一句喎：究竟神你在唔在乎我㗎？
But I can assure you He does.
但係我可以好肯定話俾大家聽，神係非常在乎大家嘅。
So the topic is, where are you, God, when I am suffering?
今日嘅題目就係咧，我正受苦，神啊，你在哪裡？
Okay, so let's start with that. And first, we'd like to bring you just a reassurance from the Bible, Romans 8:38-39.
係，咁我哋咧就先由咧今日我哋想揀嘅主要經文開始先啦，《羅馬書》8章38至39節。因為我深信，無論是死是生，是天使，是掌權的，是有能的，是現在的事，是將來的事，是高處的，是低處的，是別的受造之物，都不能叫我們與神的愛隔絕。這愛是在我們的主基督耶穌裡的。
So the message here is very simple.
呢度嘅信息非常簡單。
Nothing can separate us from the love of God except, of course, ourselves.
呢度冇任何嘢可以將我哋同神嘅愛隔絕，除咗我哋自己本身。
No devil, no bad person, nothing can separate us from God's love.
甚至唔係魔鬼，唔係什麼壞人嚇，即係除咗我哋自己本身。
Unless we personally make that choice.
除非我哋自己選擇與神嚟隔絕。
Okay, and as you know, this is Apostle Paul writing to the church in Rome.
咁呢個係咧使徒保羅咧係寫俾嗰個教會嘅信嚟嘅。
And Apostle Paul should know because he suffered a lot.
使徒保羅當然好清楚咩叫受苦啦，佢本身就係一個受好多苦難嘅人。
He was beaten, he was mistreated, he was left for dead.
係啦，佢被人毒打啦嚇，即係被人係啦不文對待啦嚇，最後仲要係受死嘅。
Yet he still comes back and says, "This is all true."
但係佢依然好強烈嘅一句即係呢一句經文話俾大家聽，冇人可以即係讓我哋與神嘅愛隔絕。
God's love endures everything.
神嘅愛咧，讓我哋足以抵禦一切。
Okay. So, like I said, many of us have been or are in trouble.
好似我開場白講啦，好多即係今日嘅可以係在座當中，可以係出邊嘅其他人，都係呢樣嘢嗰樣嘢係受苦當中可以。
So we may face hardships, challenges. For example, my child is sick.
我哋會面對好多困難同埋挑戰，譬如啦，可能係我哋嘅孩子病咗啊嚇。
This will affect us greatly.
咁或者係有啲隱患啦嚇，咁即係長期病患嗰啲啦嚇，咁可以係好影響個原生家庭父母嘅。
Oh, let me give you a couple of more examples. My life partner has an addiction.
又或者係我配偶啦嚇，本身有啲成癮嘅問題喎。
Maybe gambling or drugs or alcohol or whatever.
可能係呢個毒品問題啊，飲酒嘅問題啊，酗酒啊，或者係賭博啊，等等嘅問題。
So this puts a lot of burden on the whole family.
咁呢個對於成個家庭嚟講咧，都係有一啲嘅壓力喺處㗎。
Or what often happens also is that people have financial problems, and that will really affect them.
咁或者今時今日嚟講咧，好正常，或者好多家庭都會面對一啲嘅經濟嘅問題，係嘛？咁都會影響即係成個家庭嘅嗰個壓力啊。
So these are difficulties.
呢啲都係一啲嘅困難嚟㗎。
Great difficulties.
甚至好大嘅困難添。
And there's more.
咁當然啦，都唔止呢啲嘅。
Well, for example, I lost my job.
哎呀，好慘啊！啱冇咗嘢做，失業，俾人炒咗。
So now I have to worry how will I pay my bills? How will I continue my life?
咁我跟住下個月點交租啊？我點交我啲仔女嗰啲學費啊？什麼啊？嚇！即係咁呢啲都係好赤裸裸事實嚟㗎。
Or maybe my boss at work is totally unreasonable.
又或者你有份工，不過你個老闆就好衰嘅嚇，即係專門針對你嘅係嘛？大家嚇即係唔講道理嘅，好辛苦喎。
He or she always criticizes me.
你咧成日就係啄住我嚟講嘅。
I can't do anything right.
我冇樣嘢佢順眼嘅喎，好似。
Or another serious topic, my marriage is in trouble.
又或者啦嚇，即係啦，咁啊有個伴侶，不過即係我婚姻關係唔係幾好喎。
Or last example, I am suffering from a prolonged illness, and I'm really in deep pain.
又或者係我自己本人係啦，有呢個長期病患，真係嗰個痛苦係日夜煎熬我嘅喎。
So these are difficult issues that we have to sometimes wrestle with.
咁有時呢啲就係正我哋當中唔係你都或者其他人嘅一啲困難。
And of course, as Christians, we turn to God for help. 當然
咧，我哋係基督徒，我哋會係尋求神係咪啊，去幫助我哋。
So the premise is this: as a Christian, I say I'm a good Christian. Where is God when all this suffering is going on?
當我係一個正信嘅基督徒咧，我覺得我自己盡晒我本分啦，我返教會啊，我又讀經啊，咁係啦，我而家受緊苦喎，神啊，你喺邊處啊，神
And I know from the Bible that God is almighty and powerful.
我哋喺我哋嘅聖經當中咧，我哋與神同行當中，我哋知道佢係全能、充滿力量嘅。
So He could immediately solve my problems. No big deal.
佢即刻一秒間就可以轉晒我成個情況，佢有咁嘅能力噃。
So why does He not respond to my prayers?
咁點解佢唔咁做咧？佢唔攞走我嗰根刺咧，嗰個痛苦咧嚇
？So where is God when I need Him?
咁我需要主嘅時候，咁佢究竟喺邊處咧？
So we may have doubt.
咁呢啲時間咧，我哋有時就會產生呢個疑惑、困惑啦。
We may even doubt that God at all exists.
咁我哋甚至會懷疑神，你究竟堅定留啊？
Because I'm here right now suffering and in pain, and God didn't help me.
因為我個痛苦好真實啊，每時每刻折磨緊我，但係神點解好似究竟喺唔喺度㗎？
I cannot hear God.
我好似聽唔到神喎。
So let's ask ourselves the question: why does God not hear us?
咁我哋就會問呢個問題啦，點解上帝冇聽我哋嘅禱告咧？
Or why does it appear like He doesn't?
又或者好似睇嚟佢唔好在乎咁喎，會唔會咧？
And I'm going to present you 9 different reasons why that could be the case.
咁我而家咧跟住落嚟就會同大家分享9個理由，點解睇嚟好似上帝唔在乎。
And then we'll put it all together and see why actually the problem is not God, but it's right here.
咁跟住咧就會同大家咧有個總結，點解其實個問題咧唔係喺上帝嗰處，其實喺我哋嗰處喎。
Okay, so number one item is God doesn't hear us when there's discord.
上帝咧就唔聽我哋講嘢，當我哋當中咧就有不和諧嘅關係。
Or another word for discord would be unforgiveness.
又或者用另外一個詞咧，就係不饒恕人嚇，即係弟兄姊妹啊，或者其他人嘅當中。
So as you certainly know, is that Jesus encouraged all his followers to forgive others and live in peace as far as is possible.
咁好似我哋有讀經分享嘅時間，我哋都會知道啦。主耶穌嘅教導不嬲就鼓勵我哋要與眾人和睦相處，饒恕他人嚇，總要與其他人嚟和睦嘅。
So if we have unforgiveness in our hearts, that results in bitterness.
如果我哋有一啲咁嘅唔肯饒恕人嘅心喺裏邊咧，會形成一啲咩嘅問題咧？就係會有個苦毒啊產生咗出嚟。發現呢個咧可能係負面㗎。
And when we have this negative attitude, it makes a conversation with God very difficult.
咁有呢啲咁嘅苦毒形成咁啊，其實我哋可能負面咗自己都唔知喎。咁想同神講嘢咧，其實往往咧有時都好困難啊。
Like I said, this is not just my opinion, but of course it's a biblical truth.
呢個唔係我個人嘅意見嚟嘅，其實呢個係一個聖經嘅一個真理嚟嘅。
So to each of these points that I'm trying to make, I also give you some biblical scriptures so that you can read it for yourself and think about it.
咁呢度咧每一個點咧，我都盡量咧引用翻一啲經文咧，咁大家亦都可以即係有機會咧，可以收翻呢個 PPT 嘅時間咧，可以都睇一睇。You want me to read it?
Yep.
OK， 咁係啦，喺呢個主要嘅經文分享，馬可福音啦嚇11章25節，你們站着禱告的時候，若想起有人得罪你們，就該饒恕他，好讓你們在天上的父也饒恕你們的過犯。咁另外一個咧，我就唔再讀啦嚇。
So unforgiveness.
唔肯饒恕人啊。
Okay, so that's one reason why God may not hear us.
咁呢個可能係其中一樣嘢啦。點解上帝唔聽我哋
Okay, what else? Number 2, God doesn't hear us when we worship idols.
咁第二項咧噃，上帝唔肯聽我哋，因為我哋敬拜偶像啊。
And what does that mean, idols?
咁呢啲偶像係咩嚟㗎？乜嘢偶像啊？
It's not like we worship some other gods.
咁唔係講緊我哋去拜第啲神啦，好似黃大仙嗰啲咁樣，又未必係講呢樣嘢喎。
However, idolatry exists in the modern world.
但係好可惜咧，偶像崇拜喺現今嘅世界咧，都仲係好流行㗎。
So idolatry means that we put something either above or at the same level as God.
偶像崇拜即係咩意思啊？即係咧，我哋將某一啲嘢咧擺喺同神同一個 level，甚至高過神添，比佢更加重要啊！
So we may not produce other gods, but we may, let's say, idolize certain things in life like money, power, beauty, indulgence, and so forth.
我哋未必係即係自己製造咗一個木偶一個神出嚟敬拜，但係我哋咧好可惜咧，現今世代咧，我哋可能不知不覺咧就敬拜咗好多嘢，譬如啲咩啊，金錢啦、權力啦。掛住扮靚啊，諸如此類即係放縱自己想做嘅嘢。我中意就盡情去玩盡佢，食盡佢，用盡佢，諸如此類即係呢啲好似變咗我哋個神啊。
So in other words, we put something above God. Something is more important than God for us.
咁呢個即係咩意思啊？講緊就有啲嘢咧，就居然比我哋上帝好似仲加緊要喎。
So that's reason number 2.
係呢個就係咧第二個理由。
Okay, let's go to the next reason. Or not yet, not quite yet. Let's give you a couple of examples first.
係啦，咁呢度就另外一句嘅經文啦咁可以同大家一齊分享下。以西結書14章7至8節，因為以色列家的人或在以色列中寄居的外人，凡與我隔絕，在心中設立偶像。 把陷自己於罪的絆腳石放在面前，卻來到先知那裏，要為自己的事求問我的，我耶和華必親自報應他。我要向那人變面，使他成為警戒和笑柄，並且我要把他從我民中剪除，你們就知道我是耶和華。
Okay, so then let's move to the third reason. God doesn't hear us when we have unconfessed sin.
我哋嚟到第三點啦嚇，咁點解有時神好似唔係好聽我哋講嘢，好似聽唔到呢？原來神唔垂聽咧，因為我哋仲有一啲未認嘅罪喎。
And what sin does, I've told you this already before, is that sin separates us from God.
係啦，喺開場有講啦，啲咩同神隔絕啊？即係我哋自己本人嘅罪啊嘛，係嘛
？So in a way, it creates a barrier to dialogue.
咁呢個咧就好似一個絆腳石，係啦，即係阻隔住大家咧一齊正常咁樣去通話啊。
And then that barrier, of course, makes it impossible for us to hear God.
甚至其實可能神想同我哋講嘢，但我哋根本因為嗰個心中嗰個罪咧係阻隔住，係聽唔到佢同緊我哋講嘢噶啦已經。
So we have to really deal with this unconfessed sin.
其實我哋需要處理嘅可能係呢一啲未肯承認嘅罪啊，咁我哋先至暢通無阻，可以同我哋嘅上帝咧唔會失聯。
And we should try to do it daily.
其實我哋每日都需要自己去內省。
I mean, as the Bible teaches us, all of us have sinned.
好似聖經嘅教導咧，其實我哋每一個人咧都有罪，係嘛？
We all have made mistakes.
我哋都曾經犯過錯。
But I think if we repent, God will surely forgive us.
但我相信，如果我哋真係真心嘅誠意嘅悔改咧，神係會原諒我哋。
Okay, here's some examples again.
係啦，以賽亞書59章2節，但你們的罪孽使你們與神隔絕，你們的罪孽使他轉面不聽你們。當然仲有另外一啲嘅參考經文，我就擺咗喺後邊，我就唔再寫晒出嚟啦。
Okay, so that's when we have unconfessed sin. That's another barrier. A fourth barrier is
呢啲就係當我哋有唔肯承認嘅罪啊，呢個都係當中嘅阻隔啊。第四個
A fourth barrier is that God doesn't hear us when we are what I call insubordinate.
神唔肯聽我哋講嘢，當我哋唔肯乜嘢？唔服從。
So that's an interesting word. Insubordinate means that we don't want to bow down to God. We don't want to recognize God's supremacy.
即係意思係咩啊？即係我哋唔肯認佢作大，我哋唔肯謙卑自己嚇，即係我哋覺得我都識啦我。
And often that we have to ask ourselves, are we really doing what God wants us to do?
咁有時我哋會問啦，究竟我哋係咪真係做緊神想我哋做嘅嘢啊？
Or are we rebelling against God by disobeying Him?
甚至我哋咧係根本都唔在意，公然係反抗佢添。
And of course, the answer is that we should submit to God's will. Why? Because it's good for us.
咁但係咧個答案當然就係我哋應該去服從神嘅心意啦，因為根本於我哋就係有益嘅。
Remember, think God maybe as a loving father or mother, and they want the best. He want or she want the best for us.
好似你可以將神理解成一個慈愛嘅父或者母親嚇，咁佢個父母就梗係想俾最好嘅孩子啊嘛嚇。
Okay, so that's number 4. And again, let's give some examples.
咁我哋呢度咧又嚟到一個參考經文啦。撒迦利亞書應該係啦，7章11至13，他們卻不留意，聳肩背翼，耳朵發沉，不肯聽從，他們的心堅硬如金剛石，不聽律法和萬軍之耶和華藉着他的靈差遣從前先知所說的話，因此萬軍之耶和華大發烈怒。萬軍之耶和華說：我曾呼喚他們，他們不聽；將來他們呼求我，我也不聽。
Okay, so that's the fourth possibility.
係啦，呢個就係第四個可能性啦嚇，我哋唔肯聽佢講嘢。
Like I mentioned, this is a little bit difficult.
係，其實咧就好似比較艱難啊嚇。
But I think sometimes we have to hear the hard message.
但係咧，有時可能咧，即係都需要聽啲硬嘢嘅。
Okay. So number 5 is God doesn't hear us when we neglect others.
係啦，第5點啦嚟到，神唔垂聽點解啊？因為我哋根本唔在乎其他人嚇。
So what does that mean?
呢個講緊咩意思啊？
Well, you know that charitable giving is a basic Christian virtue.
大家就只顧自己嘅事，但係我哋知道咧嚇，慈惠奉獻係基督精神嚟嘅喎。
And it means also that we help others and that we also share what we have.
咁我哋幫助其他人嘅同時咧，我哋都分享自己係可以係啦所有嘅嘢。
If we don't do that, then it's actually harmful to us.
如果我哋唔咁樣做咧，其實咧可能係對我哋嚟講係甚至有傷害嘅喎。
So we are neglecting others.
我哋咧係忽略緊別人嘅需要。
So that means we are selfish.
咁即係換句話說，就係等於自私啦，係咪？
Okay. So again, a couple of scriptures for you, or just one?
咁我哋呢度咧係用一句經文咧，就同大家分享係箴言21章13節。塞耳不聽貧寒人哀求的，他自己呼求也不蒙應允。咁呢度好清楚，聖經咧係咁樣講，同我哋講咗嘅。
So that was 5 out of 9.
係啦，咁呢個9樣之中嘅第5樣啦。
Okay, next one. God does not hear us when we ask in vain.
第6樣，神不垂聽，當我們咧點樣？當我哋係枉然無效咁樣求。
And what does that word mean? Vain means arrogantly or stubbornly or with a negative attitude.
咁可能係我哋好狂妄自大咁求啦，又或者我哋好頑固咁樣求啦。咁係用一個好負面嘅態度，即係唔係有效嘅方式咁樣去求問我哋父神。
So if we are placing ourselves very high, then we are in the danger of placing ourselves above God.
咁如果我哋成日將自己咧擺喺一個高位，我要行先，我什麼都我先咧，咁有個危險喺處，就可能你擺到同神都差唔多高咯噃。
So if we are already above God, then why believe? No need.
咁如果你都叻過神啦，咁你仲使乜信佢啦？係嘛？咁你咪自己去搞掂咯。
So before we ask, we should ensure that we are also faithful.
咁當我哋求問神嘅時間咧，我哋都要檢視自己個內心，究竟我哋個信響唔響樹咧？
And we also taught that we should believe that we will receive, and then we will receive it at the timing of God.
呢句相當精彩啊！你要問，你都要信你會得到先得㗎，係嘛？咁你問好求其咁問，唔知啊有啦冇啦，但係你都要相信你嘅神會回應你喺佢嘅時間。
So maybe I'll ask God, God give me $1 million today.
可能你喺度好求其咁啊！神啊，你今日俾100萬我啊咁樣。
I don't think God will listen to that.
咁我諗神可能都唔會咁樣回應你啩，即係粗粗地咁樣就今日俾個100萬你啊。
So that asking in vain.
咁呢啲就係無效咁樣求啦。
Arrogantly.
係好狂妄自大咁樣求。
Again, a couple of scriptures as examples.
係啦，咁呢度咧係一啲嘅經文咧，又互相鼓勵啦。係雅各書1章6至8節，只要憑着信心求，一點也不疑惑，因為那疑惑的人就像海中的波浪，被風吹動翻騰。這樣的人不要想從主那裏得到什麼。三心兩意的人，在他一切所行的路上都搖擺不定。
Okay, thank you. So let's go and move on to the seventh item. And God does not hear us when we ignore Him.
第7點啦，嚟到咁上帝就梗係唔聽我哋啦。如果我哋根本都忽視佢，當佢冇到，係咪啊
So it is a simple truth that, well, first we have to ask.
咁呢個係好簡單嘅真理。我哋首先要肯即係謙卑自己去求啊，去真心去想要去求。
So if we don't even ask, then do we believe?
咁如果我哋都連問都唔肯去開口問，咁其實你係咪真係信嘅咧？個信係咩書咧？
And we should also ask in humility and then expect to receive.
咁我哋都係以一個正確謙卑嘅心態去問啦，嚇咁同埋你會得到你嘅答案。
Okay, again one example.
係啦，雅各書4章2節，你們貪戀得不着就殺人，你們嫉妒不能得手就起爭執和衝突，你們得不着是因為你們不求。
Okay, and then the next one, which is quite common and I think quite important, is God doesn't hear us when there's a lot of turmoil.
咁呢個第8咧嚇都幾重要嘅嚇，都好普遍而重要嘅。神聽我哋，因為我哋陷入各種嘅漩渦之中，好似結塔咁樣。
Again, that could be things like problems in a marriage, in a family, or other relationships that really affect us.
其實咩叫做各種漩渦咧？可能係我哋同人啊、其他唔同團體一啲關係啦，可以係婚姻啊、家庭啊、其他關係咧，會影響住我哋整個人嘅靈性。
Because these problems that we have, we are so focused on those problems that we don't have time and energy to deal with God.
因為我哋太注重我哋周邊喺度搞緊呢啲一壇二壇嘢，我哋就未能夠專注神啊。
So Jesus teaches us live in peace with others.
咁神嘅教導係乜嘢？我哋與人係和睦相處啊嘛，係嘛？和睦相處就俾我哋一個即係好平安、好冷靜落嚟嘅心態。
And deal with the turmoil.
咁我哋就首先就要係搞掂晒嗰啲一壇二壇嘢嚇，即係平安下來先。
So don't let the turmoil take over your life.
唔好俾嗰啲咁樣嘅纏繞掙扎啊，即係去將我哋個專注點擺晒嗰度，忽略咗神。
Again, an example.
係啦，咁呢度咧分享嘅經文，彼得前書3章7節，同樣你們作丈夫的要按情理跟妻子共同生活，體貼女性是比較軟弱的器皿，要尊重她，因為她與你一同承受生命之恩。這樣你們的禱告就不會受阻礙。
Okay, thank you. And then let's go to the last point now.
係啦，去到第9點啦。
Which is God doesn't hear us when we ask erroneously.
係啦，神咧就唔聽我哋講嘢。如果我哋點樣問啊？錯誤地問，你問啲錯嘅問題就唔會得到答案啦。
So why are we asking God for something? Is it because this is for our own selfish pleasure?
咁我哋究竟問咗啲乜嘢啊？會唔會就係想尋求神一啲自我歡愉嘅嘢咧？即係我開心我爽就 OK 啦。
Or are we asking for things that may hurt us or may hurt others?
又或者我哋係咪尋求神去答應我哋一啲嘢，會傷害我哋，又或者甚至傷害他人嘅咧？
So the motivation of our asking is also important.
咁我哋求問神嘅動機都好緊要嘅噃。
Are we asking something for someone else?
我哋究竟係咪幫人哋嚟到求咧？
Just now we had the little prayer group here, and Pastor Ricky led, and he asked everyone, what their prayer need was.
係啦，頭先牧師啦Ricky 牧師即係主持我哋開始敬拜之前，咁大家有個少少嘅祈禱，就係一個好好嘅示範啦。大家每一位究竟當中有乜嘢要代求㗎？唔係講緊佢本人喎，講嚟大家喎，我哋係嘛？
So I think this is a good way to do it.
係啦，呢個係一個係好嘅示範嚇，就係大家互相去關心。
Another person ask for the other person.
係啦，就係唔係為我啊？係為其他人。你個需要喺邊處啊？我可唔可以幫你求？
And why is that good?
點解呢個好啊？
Well, first of all, the request will be more reasonable because the person will not pray for us for some crazy request.
咁因為咧係啦，我哋求嘅嘢咧就會比較係啦，比較實際係嘛，即係唔會係啲即係誇張、超乎想像嘅嘢係嘛，即係為自己你乜都想㗎係嘛。
So let's try to find a small group or other people, other Christians who will pray for our needs.
咁我哋所以咧係有祈禱小組係好好㗎嚇，即係有一時有一啲嘅祈禱會啊，我哋大家一齊互相鼓勵支持。
Okay, so again, a scriptural example.
咁當中亦都有個經文分享嘅，同大家分享雅各書4章3節，你們求也得不着，是因為你們妄求，為了要浪費在你們的宴樂中。
Okay, and then let's put all those 9 points together now. Okay, there they are in
好啦，頭先
line.
係啦，頭先講過嗰9點啦，不和諧啦，又有偶像啦，又有罪啦，不服從啦，當你冇到啦，忽視佢啊，枉然即係亂咁求，忽視咦點解又有兩個忽視？可能neglect no 漩渦錯誤當中 OK。
Okay, so when we put those all together and form an English word, we get the word disinvite.
咁如果我哋咧用嗰個係啦，即係頭一個字母啦去 form 一個字咧，我哋即係英文咧就叫做係啦 disinvite 不邀請喎。原來我哋咧做晒呢幾樣嘢咧，就自動就唔邀請神，好似趕咗佢出去咁樣喎。
So what has happened there?
咁呢個究竟係發生乜嘢咧？
So basically, what we have done through all the trouble around us, we have disinvited God from our lives, but God is of course still there.
原來我哋做齊咁多樣嘢咧，就等於我哋咧我哋唔想再邀請神喺我哋當中啊，叫做原來我哋趕緊佢啊。咁但係就算我哋係咁樣，但係神係咪離開咗？其實唔係嘅，佢依然喺度嘅。
God didn't go anywhere.
佢冇走咗喎。
He is still the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
佢依然係昨日、今日、明日都喺樹嘅主。
The problem is us.
個問題就係我哋啊。
And we have to deal with that problem.
我哋係需要檢視我哋自己個態度啊，同埋當中嘅一啲掙扎。
So let's try to reconnect with God.
咁讓我哋再試去同佢重新嘅連結。
Okay, so that was a lengthier explanation of what the problem could be.
係啦，咁呢個係長少少一啲原因。咁點解有時好似睇嚟上帝冇聽我哋咧？係啦。
So let's turn a little bit now towards the solutions.
咁我哋而家咧就去睇下究竟我哋可以點樣解救啦。
Now, it is very certain when we read the Bible, we can see that God listens to His people and He also answers them.
大家睇聖經查經嘅時候，大家會知道啦上帝係回應佢嘅子民亦都即係實實在在咁回應嘅。
Sometimes there's a time lag.
但係只不過有時個時間唔係我哋係所期待嗰個時間馬上回應或者聽日回應。
But the reason is that this could be for our benefit.
但係有時延遲咗個回應咧，其實亦都係為着我哋嘅好處㗎。
For example, as you remember in the Old Testament, the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt for a long time.
好似舊約嘅時間啦以色列民咧就喺埃及咧，喺嗰度勞役咗幾耐啊！
And probably daily they said, "Our life is so hard, God, why are you not helping us?"
可能佢哋每一日就喺度嗌緊啊！哇，好辛苦啊，大佬！咁點解你唔救我哋出去？
But God then provided Moses.
但係跟住神就興起咗摩西。
And the power that went with from God to Moses.
咁同埋咧，摩西領受咗從神而嚟嘅個異象同能力。
The 10 plagues came.
係啦，跟住10誡就出咗嚟啦。
And finally the people were released.
跟住就點啊 ？Let my people go 就出咗去啦。
That's it.
係啊，就出咗去。
Good. Okay, so God does listen to His people and answers them, not necessarily today, but at His timing.
係啦，即係神其實係會回應佢嘅子民嘅，但係喺佢嘅時間去回應。
So things that we need to ask is, are we right with God? Are we doing the right things? Are we dealing with our sin? Are we forgiving, charitable, and so forth?
我哋要成日問自己嘅就係，我哋有冇好好面對神咧？搞掂我哋自己各種嘅係啦，呢啲咁嘅關係咧，有冇對其他人慷慨咧？有冇心中有怨恨咧？呢啲嘢我哋需要纏繞我哋嘅，我哋要面對。
So of course God knows us and He loves us, and He expects the same from us.
上帝認識我哋，亦都愛我哋。咁其實佢都希望我哋都係咁樣去對佢。
And therefore we should make an effort to trust Him, to believe in Him, and to please Him.
我哋應該相信信任佢啦，亦都係盡量係即係上帝咁愛你，你亦都討佢嘅歡心，係嘛？
So this is a lifelong journey.
雖然我哋有掙扎，但係呢個係一生嘅挑戰嚟嘅，有時。
So as I mentioned before, the Bible is full of promises that God made and that came to fulfillment when we have the right relationship with Him.
神係喺個聖經裏邊咧，係充滿對我哋嘅應許嘅，但係只要我哋去肯開放我哋自己去聽啦，係會同佢有一個正信嘅關係。
Okay, let me give you again a couple of biblical examples. There's so many.
係啦，咁參考嘅我哋放喺後邊啦嚇。咁我哋先講咗呢個約翰福音15章7節：你們若常在我裏面，我的話也常在你們裏面。凡你們想要的，祈求就給你們成全。
Okay, well let's say there's now a problem. There's an immediate need to reconnect with God. How can we do that?
咁好似我哋係啦，而家真係有個好大嘅問題，我真係馬上需要神嚟同我講，我哋點樣啦嚇？
Well, the first way is very simple. You know, we come together in prayer and we do some Bible reading.
係啦，我哋有弟兄姊妹喺當中嘅，我哋一齊係禱告、查經嚇，當中小組咁樣去結連。
We also think about our issues. You know, what could be the problem?
同埋自己都要有自己個自我個檢醒嘅嗰個能力啦嚇。咁會唔會我都有少少嘢需要自己檢討咧？
Some people have found a comfort in fasting.
咁有啲人咧係會用一個方式去讓自己咧係即係謙卑落嚟嘅，例如齋戒啦，一個時間嚇唔做某一啲嘢，專心求問神。
Other people have found comfort in just every day writing a little bit something down to God.
咁有啲人咧會係喺佢同神嘅獨處時間，每天都寫一啲嘢，神祝福過佢嘅，咁係肯定佢自己嘅同神嘅關係啊、信仰啊，咁可能佢當中會得到好大嘅安慰。
And yet others have found comfort in attending small groups.
咁亦都有啲弟兄姊妹啦嚇，會嚟到一啲小組當中啊，係大家互相分享，亦都會攞到好大嘅支持。
So you can see all these steps have something in common.
咁呢啲咧都有一樣共通係嘛？
We are taking time to be with God.
即係需要攞出實際嘅時間去同神一齊。
For a moment, we are forgetting the day-to-day troubles which all of us have.
咁將我哋纏繞住我哋嘅各樣嘢，啲工作啊，啲好繁忙嘅嘢，我哋就擺開一邊，就攞出一個時間，我哋好專心對住佢。
Just very, very quickly, I want to give you a biblical example of Job.
係啦，當中有一個例子咧，講開受苦，我諗大家都會記得佢係嘛？約伯。
Job, who was a blameless man.
係啦，佢係一個無愧嘅人嚟噶。OK， 好啦，咁我讀一讀啦嚇。烏斯地有一個人名叫約伯，那人完全正直，敬畏神，遠離惡事。約伯之父有他生有7個兒子，3個女兒。 他的家產有7000羊、3000駱駝、500對牛、500母驢，並有許多僕婢。這人在東方中就為至大。
So Job was blameless and upright, and he feared God, and he turned away from evil. He did all the right things.
咁佢呢個敬畏神嘅人，會做所有嘢都即係你1至7可能都 check 晒，都完全好啱嘅喎。
Okay. However, not 100% everything was well in his family.
但係佢嘅家庭唔係所有嘢都好好喎。
His sons and daughters used to party a lot.
佢個仔同女咧，其實都成日開好多派對嘅，可能佢都有錢人係嘛。
And then the father obviously trying to, let's say, take care of the kids, made some sacrifices to God because he thought that maybe they were not doing the right things.
約伯都會有獻祭啦嚇，即係為著自己嘅家庭向神獻祭啦嚇，咁可能佢覺得咁就做咗本分㗎啦。
So there was turmoil in the family.
其實都有少少嘅一啲漩渦、一啲掙扎嘅家庭裏邊。
And of course, the devil, as the devil always does, wanted to tempt Job.
咁但係咧，個魔鬼就都會想去試探佢啦，係嘛？
So he went to God and said, God, this guy is only faithful to you because you have blessed him that well.
咁佢就同神講話，呢個人咧就好似都好無愧咁樣嚇，得佢事正，但因為你祝福得佢夠多啊嘛。
And that you have put a barrier around his house, and blessed him with great wealth.
因為你好似好保護佢咁樣嚇，又俾佢有咁多家產。
So if I now take this wealth away from him, will he then not curse you?
咁你睇下，你攞走晒佢啲嘢啊，睇下佢會唔會詛咒你啊嗱。
Okay, and you know that he did not, but God allowed the devil to tempt Job.
咁神容許魔鬼咧就係啦，即係啦，即係攞走佢一啲嘢嚇。
So the first thing he did is, and I don't have it on the slides, but he took away all his possessions.
咁第一樣嘢做嘅咧嚇，即係我冇即係打晒全部出嚟啦嚇，就攞晒佢嘅家產。
He had thousands of all kinds of animals and
嗰啲第一個the first page actually，佢嗰啲牛啊羊啊什麼嗰啲嘢。
So they were first gone, and as that news was proclaimed to Job, there came another messenger that said all his kids had died in the house.
咁嗰啲牛啊羊啊啲家產咧，全部攞走晒之後咧，跟住有第二個傳信嘅人嚟啦。哇！連你啲僆仔嚇，你啲仔啊女啊都死晒喎。
What they were doing is they were eating and drinking in the eldest brother's house.
佢哋喺佢哋嘅大佬長兄嘅家裏邊咧吃飯喝酒，咁就狂風喺曠野就飄來，咁就擊打，咁就咁樣就全部冇晒喎。
However, Job did not curse God.
但係就算係咁樣，約伯都冇去要咒詛神。
Of course, he was very distressed.
咁但係佢係好大嘅壓力當中啦嚇。
So the devil went back to God and said, "Okay, you didn't give me enough power yet. You didn't allow me to go far enough."
咁個魔鬼就去神嗰度你冇俾我更大嘅能力去即係咒詛佢個家庭更加多嚇。
So God gave him again the permission to bring bad health to Job, but not to take his life.
咁跟住咧，連佢自己本人嗰個健康咧，都係啦，都每況愈下，好受影響，係嘛？但係就算係咁，佢並冇攞走佢條命。
So Job became infected by sores.
咁佢個身體咧就長滿呢個毒瘡啊，從腳掌到頭頂。
And even his wife said, "Do you still persist in your integrity? Curse God and die."
你仲要堅守你嗰個神啊，你個信仰啊，唉，你放棄佢啦，係嘛？你詛咒佢啦，即係佢個老婆都咁樣同佢講。
So that's pretty harsh.
真係好艱難。
I hope my wife never says that to
希
me.
望我老婆唔會咁樣同我講啊，永遠。
Okay. However, at the end of the day, where Job had an argument with some of his friends, and finally God came to him and answered him.
正當有一日佢同佢嘅約伯同佢朋友喺度爭論當中嘅時候咧，神就臨到。
But we have to jump 40 chapters in a book.
咁我哋就係啦，40篇之後就去嚟呢度啦。
So here you can see that actually what Job did was very smart. He prayed for his three friends who God had really not found very much favor with. He prayed for his friends, and that let's say changed God's view. And then God said, "Okay, well, you are truly righteous man."
咁呢度咧係有樣好神奇嘅嘢發生啊！即係就算呢個約伯喺又成身生毒瘡嚇，乜嘢俾神攞走晒，哇打冧晒、打殘晒，但係佢仲可以為佢嘅朋友禱告，呢個就係一個轉捩點，為佢有需要嘅朋友禱告，都仲能夠咁樣做，改變咗神對佢嘅睇法。
So at the end of the day, Job regained even more wealth, and he also had another 7 sons and 3 daughters, just like he had at the beginning.
係啦，咁大家都會記得嚇嗰個故事嘅結尾嚇，神後尾咧都祝福翻佢嚇，俾佢有翻佢之前有嘅，甚至更加多嚇，俾翻啲另外一啲仔啦嚇，同埋女啊，7個仔3個女俾翻佢。
So this ending was a happy ending.
呢個結尾都係一個開心團圓大結局嚟嘅。
But it may not always come this way.
但當然啦嚇，即係我哋每個人有唔同嘅故事，未必係完全係同佢一模一樣嘅。
But we can learn something from it.
但係咧，當中都有一啲嘅提醒嚇，對我哋係有一啲嘅鼓勵。
Okay, so let's see what we can learn.
咁我哋睇下當中我哋可以學到啲乜嘢。
And I promise you, this is the last slide.
唔使擔心，係最後噶啦。
And the message here is very clear, I think, and we have heard it and so forth. Everyone will face hardship and suffering.
當中嘅信息咧，我相信大家都即係好清楚會聽到嚇，就係乜嘢啊？每個人其實一定會有佢自己嘅一啲困難同埋苦難。
It has nothing to do with our service to God or our position or whatever. Everyone will just face these hardships.
即係唔關你即係職位高低嚇，個人什麼嚇，即係總之每個人都會有一尾，好簡單咁講。
So it's difficult to say, of course, why.
好難去問點解係咪？我哋成日都想問點解，但係真係唔知有冇得解。
But one possibility I give here is that maybe it's God's way to separate the sheep and the goats.
咁當我哋好想問點解嘅時候咧，我哋都喺度諗緊啦嚇。其實我哋用乜嘢態度去面對咧？有時往往係神就係想去分辨我哋中間係究竟邊啲係公山羊，邊啲係綿羊咧嚇。
Okay, so the key, of course, here is then that we try to maintain a positive attitude and a true relationship with God, and then we can overcome these challenges.
咁當然啦嚇，即係我哋講咗好耐苦難嚇，其實我哋都明㗎啦嚇。咁但係要保持喺當中咧嚇，我哋要同神有一個正信嘅關係，呢個係有時係最難嚇，即係好坦然無懼來到佢面前去同佢講嚇，同埋保持盡可能嘅正面。
Now remember, there's still the life to come. You know, this is not all there is.
係啦，我哋仲有我哋嘅生命嚟緊嘅生命係嘛？即係除咗呢一個今世嘅生命，我哋仲有天上嘅同佢嘅關係。
Okay, so I think with that we will conclude and say thank you.
咁呢度咧就去到我哋今日嘅分享就係個尾聲啦。咁係啦，就我哋頭先個總結啦，保持我哋一個同神嘅正信嘅關係，呢個好緊要。
So the question was, where are you, God? And the answer is, God is right here within us.
當我哋要問神啊，你喺邊嘅時候，記住其實神冇走到，佢一直都響樹喺我哋嘅中間。
So you don't have to look very far.
唔好周圍望，唔好兩頭望。
Okay, thank you.
好多謝大家。